Welcome to Under One Roof MTL, where we are demystifying home ownership one week at a time. My name is Robin Flynn, and I'm joined, as always, by LJ Aguinaga of LJ Realties. Hi, LJ.
Hey, how's it going?
Fantastic. Also joined by Fred Pichette. Welcome back, Fred.
Thank you, Robin. Happy Father's Day to
Happy
everybody.
Father's Day, yes, to everybody who's a dad, including you, including LJ, including Martin. Martin Spalding of Fred and Martin Mortgages. How are you doing today, Martin?
Father's Day meets Formula One. What a great way to kick off the summer season.
Yep, absolutely. No kidding. Let's start with our trivia question of the week because a way to make this day, Father's Day, Grand Prix race day, even better would be to win some cookies from Felix and Norton. They're in the Blue Haven Shopping Center, by the way, 3705 St. John's Boulevard in DDO. If you think you know it, text in to 514-790-0800, include your name, and the first one through with the right answer will receive delicious cookies from Felix and Norton delivered straight to their door. Our question this week: if you're a first time home buyer putting down less than 20%, what is the maximum amortization length for a mortgage in Canada? 514-790-0800. Lots of stuff in the news this week. I feel like we say that every week. There's always lots of stuff in the news this week. You know, guys, I'm very tired of living under unprecedented times. Wouldn't it be nice if we could just have precedented times for a little while? That might be nice. Okay, LJ, why don't we start with the Montreal real estate market report because I think there is some good news there for the month of May.
100%. Look, sales are up, prices are up. Even with active new listings hitting the market, that number being up as well. We've seen days on market come down across the board. So in reality, what we're seeing is that there's a lot of buyers out there. There's a lot of absorption happening right now as we're speaking. And people are excited about real estate in Montreal. We are starting to enter the slightly slower season as the weather's turning around. People are focusing more on spending time outside, on going on vacations, on all the fun summer activities. But all in all, the Montreal real estate market has been very robust and it's been growing significantly.
That's fantastic news.
Do you think the market's going to slow down during the summer, or are we going to have sort of like an unorthodox summer this summer, where people are going to still continue looking for properties?
I think there's still gonna be people in the market because we still have people who weren't able to find something, let's say, over the first 6 months of the year. So we're still gonna have a bit of activity. There's still properties coming to market right now, which is a little bit less common in previous years. So I think we are still going to have activity. But at the end of the day, I mean, especially with the way the summer has started, right? I remember June 2nd, it was still 7 degrees outside. I think people are going to be really excited about the nice weather coming and really shifting their focus to family activities and enjoying the Montreal summer once that really comes in.
So, I have two questions for you. If you're a buyer, what do you do?
If you're a buyer, what do you do? The first thing you do is you get pre-approved with Red Martin, right? We talked about that every week. That's step one. The nice thing about the summer when activity kind of slows down a little bit is that while there might not be as much inventory to pick from, you're gonna be able to negotiate a little bit more because you have less competition, right? So the nice thing about buying on an off cycle, if you will, when it's not the hottest time of the year, is that you usually have a little bit more margin on the negotiation due to the fact that you have less competition. You will have less options available to you, right? There is no good without some bad in there. But if you're looking for a deal per se, and I use that word very loosely, now's gonna be the time. Summer months or going into kind of the dead of winter, December is the next time when you can usually negotiate a little bit stronger. So that's what you should do right now if that's what you've been looking for. But again, it comes down to being ready, being pre-approved, having studied the area that you're looking at so you know how to identify a property that meets your criteria and at the price point that you're looking for. Because whenever you're just starting and you haven't seen enough properties, whether that's visiting them, whether that's looking at them online and just having a better understanding of where we're heading, then you're not going to be in the position to really make the decision when you come across that rare pearl.
So, on the flip side, if you're a seller,
If you're a seller right now and we're about to hit the market, right, as we're entering the slower time of the year, it's a question of setting the right expectations, right? So it comes down to, I always believe in anchoring on the right price. Let's not overlist your house. Let's not underlist your house. What is fair market value? What is really in that sweet spot of what we think the property is worth? And just understanding that even though, I mean, at least for my team, our time on market so far this year has been 27 days, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's less than half of the industry average. As we go into the slower months, it's quite likely that we're going to take longer to sell the property. and that we don't need to panic if we don't get an offer in the first 2, 3 weeks. It doesn't mean that there's a problem, that it's pricing, that nobody wants your house. It just means that we're entering a slower time of the year and we're going to be a little bit slower to react on price reductions right now. Now, I say this with a huge grain of salt because a lot of times people will still want to overlist their property unless the price is too high. And then what I just said does not apply to you. There is definitely a pricing issue in that situation. But if we looked at the comparables, we looked at what sold recently in the last 3 to 6 months, we keep an eye on them every single month. We review what is sold that is comparable to your property to make sure that we're still priced right and we're still in line with those numbers, then it's okay if it takes a little bit longer because of the time of the year.
Jake, if you're a seller, what do you think? Do you think it's better to sell your property right now or waiting for the fall season, which is usually sometime it's a good time too?
It really comes down to your needs, right? Everybody always wants to try and time the market. And Martin always says it's time in the market, not timing the market. So when you take that into consideration, I mean, if you are in no rush, then yeah, sure, the fall market's usually a bit more robust, even right come end of August, beginning of September. We start to see more moves happening. We see a lot of companies hiring for September 1st, and therefore we see people coming into Montreal or people just moving closer to their new employment possibly for that time of year. So it's definitely an exciting and busy time of the year. But at the same time, if you're ready to move this summer and you don't want to necessarily wait all summer before getting your property on market, or even more so, if you have a house that really showcases well in the summer because of a rooftop patio or a wonderful backyard or stuff of that nature, then let's get your property ready to go and let's put it on the market. And like I said, let's just be a little bit more patient with that end result that we're looking for.
I love what you said about a house that showcases well in the summer. If you've got a really nice backyard, let's show it off, right? You've got
You got a pool.
the in-ground pool, patio, gazebo, garden. Yeah, that's great. Guys, last night my husband and I did something that we do every twice a year. We sat down and talked about what our financial goals are for the next year. We do it twice a year and we kind of review where we're at, what we're planning for. And this happened last night mainly because we were eating outside and I was looking at our deck and I was like, oh, we really need to redo the deck. And, what do we want it to look like? And then looking up how much it would cost per square foot, blah, blah, blah. So we put a plan in place, how much we want to save to redo our deck and sort of create the backyard oasis of our dreams. That's what we are planning to do with some extra cash. But then I see this week that one of the things you wanted to talk about, Martin, was making lump sum mortgage payments. So now I'm wondering if maybe that's what we should be working towards next year, a lump sum mortgage payment. So what exactly is a lump sum mortgage payment and how often can you do something like that?
Well, okay, so let's go back. There are two schools of thought when it comes to lump sum payments. So, what is your mortgage interest rate currently? And or how much could you earn if you invested the money elsewhere?
Mm.
One is guaranteed and one comes with a certain amount of risk. So, a good strategy, if you can, is to do a bit of both. Pay down your mortgage and try to invest for either retirement or for a rainy day. The beauty of lump sum payments or double payments is that the money goes right against the principal. So if you really want to make your mortgage evaporate, lump sum payments is the way to do it. What we're seeing a lot of people do right now, because of, we're going to talk about it a little bit later, the sticker shock. A lot of people sign their mortgages currently during COVID, and now they're up for a renewal. And so the renewal could easily be 2 points higher than what they signed for during COVID. So a lot of people are now extending, and I hear these conversations all day long because I'm sitting next to Fred, and a lot of people are stretching their amortization back out to 25 to 30 years, but with the intention of making lump sum payments. So by stretching out your amortization, it lowers your monthly payments, improves your cash flow, and with that extra money, as long as you're paying your bills, you can put it against your mortgage, either via double payments or lump sum payments. But you need to check because all lenders usually offer a prepayment privilege, but you got to make sure before you take that step that you've checked what the rules or the conditions are of your loan. That's where we also fall into, we often hear Fred say, rate is one thing, but conditions of the loan is something else, and prepayment privileges fall within that. So, in summary, if you can, pay down your mortgage, but at the same time, put some money aside for a rainy day.
So you can make lump sum payments on your primary residence, your principal residence. If you are an investor and you own multiple properties like a multiplex, you can be making lump sum payments on those as well. If you're curious about how that works, what is it like to own a multiplex? How do I get somebody to actually collect the rent for me so I don't have to worry about it? Give the Plex Doctor a call, 514-709-6397. You can also visit their website at plexdr.com. Still to come, the top trending mortgage topics of the season. That's coming up after we check traffic at the CJD 800 Traffic Center.
This season's top 10 mortgage trends. This is your Mortgage Minute. Number 10, reverse mortgages go mainstream. Number 9, alternative or B lenders can save the day. Number 8, buying before selling. Is this risky business? Number 7, amortization extensions. Is this a lifeline or a trap? Number 6, more equity, less cash flow. Number 5, penalties. Make sure you read the fine print. Number 4, stress tests. Is this still too stressful? Number 3, renewal shock. Number 2, do I lock in or float? And the number 1 trending topic this season has been the Bank of Canada rate cuts.
This is Under One Roof MTL on CJD 800. I'm Robin. That's Fred. That's Martin. That is LJ. Top trending topics in mortgages this season.
The things that Fred and I hear day in, day out. Just mentioned it. The renewal shock, variable versus fixed, and when is the Bank of Canada going to lower its rates again? Day in, day out, 24/7. Those are the 3 hot topics that we hear with our clients and that we try to steer our clients through those 3 hot topics.
Now, the renewal shock is interesting, right? Because I think for people who aren't as immersed in this stuff as we are, they see the news once in a while. Interest rates went down. Interest rates went down. That's what they've been hearing for the last year or so. But interest rates have still gone up quite a bit since they last renewed their mortgage, like you said, during COVID, during what was the average interest rate back then? Like 2 something?
You could sign for, 149, 175, under 2. And we had some people renew early and they were in the 5s and now they're renewing in the 4s. So that's +2. So a +2, could add hundreds or even thousands to your mortgage. And a lot of people didn't plan for that. They thought that their interest rate at 175 was going to last forever. And that's where the sticker shock hit them.
Now, before traffic, we mentioned the opportunity of extending your amortization period. Just try to reduce those monthly payments. Is that something that you recommend to your clients, Fred?
You could call back your lender if originally your mortgage was at 25 years old amortization period and you're now at 15 and you have a hard time to make the payment because the interest rate went, as Martin says, from 2 to 4, 4.25. Before signing your renewal or at signing of your renewal, you could ask your bank to extend the amortization, bring it back to 25 years. Most of the bank will allow you to do this. Just an example, if you have a mortgage balance of $300,000 with a 15 years amortization period, your monthly payment will be approximately 2.2 if you carry a rate of 419, 429, By doing a refinancing, you could bring back the amortization period up to 30 years. If you still have a balance of 300, your monthly payment will be roughly around $1,400 per month, which is it's a saving of $700,000-800,000 per month. Obviously, you will end up paying a bit more interest, but then you could take control of your finance quicker. If you just take your renewal as is, sometimes it's probably not the right thing to do.
Can I build on what Fred just said? Because what we're seeing a lot is people, before they address the situation, they get to a point where they're hemorrhaging, right? So the focus is to pay your mortgage, but then you're supplementing those extra costs by loading up your credit cards, which is a huge mistake. So I agree with Fred. Refinance, stretch everything back out, and get your finances under control.
Speaking of making decisions, should you be locking into a fixed or variable rate right now? Should you float your mortgage? What would be your advice in this situation, Martin?
Well, it's your tolerance to risk, right? So variable rates and fixed rates are pretty much at parity right now. So if you think that the Bank of Canada is going to continue to lower its overnight rate, hence pulling down the variable rates, then and you want to game the market or you want to hedge on that, then sign variable. And then when it bottoms out, lock into fix. But if you want to know exactly what your payments are going to be, and interest rates at low fours is a decent mortgage rate. It's because we were spoiled during COVID and everyone thinks, oh, I'm going to get a 2% mortgage rate. That's a fallacy. If you sign for around 4, it's a good mortgage rate because a lot of people look at their mortgage rates, but they don't look at what they're paying on their credit cards. So it's your tolerance to risk. If you need to know exactly how much you're going to pay, fixed. If you're willing to gamble a little bit, go variable.
How do we predict what's going to happen with the Bank of Canada rate cuts? There's another announcement coming in July. Let's bring in LJ to sort of predict this because LJ, you've always been a little more conservative with predicting rate cuts. So I'm curious what you think the Bank of Canada is going to do in July.
If you build it, they will come, right? I mean, I think we got to hope for that rate cut, right? That's we're going to put that out into the world to hope that it finally comes. Like I mentioned, I think on a previous episode, the reality is with all the turmoil in the economy right now, in the sense of instability, more so than turmoil, we just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Earlier this week, I think there was another war started in the Middle East, just or deeper, right? Every single day we're getting bombarded literally with news and new pieces of information. Is the China-U.S. Tariffs going to be put at bay? I know they've been negotiating it all this week. We're hearing positive signs. Have we come to terms? Have we not? Is it going to fall apart on Monday morning anyways? We don't know these things. And because of that, predictions right now, I'd say, are the toughest they've ever been. Every single morning, I get a newsletter in my inbox and I read to stay up to date on what's happening in the world, what's happening in general. And it's almost like we're numb to these crazy headlines that we're reading every single day right now. And because of that, well, we never know what's going to happen next. So, with all of that in mind, I'm going to be positive on the outlook and state that we are going to get a rate cut because the economy is going to need a little bit of support. And everyone's going to be really excited for this 25 basis point rate cut. So, that's what I'm putting out into the world.
Fred Martin, quickly, what do you think is going to happen July 30th? Fred, are you predicting another rate cut?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's time. I was wrong last time. I thought the governor of the Bank of Canada will give us a rate cut, but I think in July, if the inflation remains low, I think we're gonna have a rate cut. Absolutely.
I'm all in for a 25 basis rate cut in July.
Excellent. To find out more about what your lending options are, you should get in touch with Fred and Martin. Visit their website at fredandmartin.com. Coming up, everything you need to know before you start house shopping. Step away from the Centris app. Talk to LJ instead. That's coming up after the news. This is Under One Roof MTL on CJD 800. My name is Robin Flynn. That's Fred Bichette and Martin Spalding from Fred and Martin Mortgages. That's LJ Aguinaga of LJ Realties. House Shopping 101. Buying a home is very, very exciting. It's also very, very scary. It's probably the biggest investment you're ever going to make in your life. So LJ, when somebody comes to you and says, LJ, look, I'm ready to buy a new home. I've got some money saved up for a down payment. My credit's pretty good. I'm ready to rock and roll. What does your process look like to onboard that client, to figure out what their needs are and how to get them in tip-top shape to start buying?
So step one for us is what I call buyer's consultation. Buyer's consultation usually lasts 30 to 60 minutes. We go through, I have a whole presentation. I walk everybody through how it works to purchase a property in Quebec from A to Z. So we talk about the financing component, the different terms that banks will offer you. We talk about closing costs. We talk about the actual process, the brokerage contract to purchase, the laws and regulations that we're currently seeing. We talk about what to know so that you're prepared and what are the steps of the transaction, how making the offer works, what the options of response from the vendor are, what kind of conditions we're including in our offers, that include inspections, document review, possible pyrite tests, all sorts of stuff of that nature. I kind of walk them through all these things so that when we're actually going through it in the transaction, it's not unfamiliar to them. We've at least had the conversation. They've seen it once before, so that when I bring it back up, it's like, oh yeah, you mentioned this before. There's more familiarity as opposed to really being hit with a ton of new information as you're on the fly, as you're trying to make decisions. So I walk them through everything because my philosophy is always, first of all, I want to educate you because it's two-pronged. One, I think that once you're educated on the process, you can make much better decisions. Secondly, I know that if I can do my part in helping you understand the process and know what you're getting yourself into, Even if you decide not to work with me, you're going to have seen value in the process that I provided to you, and it's going to lead to more business for me. Ultimately, you're going to refer me. You're going to say, this guy knows what he's talking about, and it's going to really expand the reach. So, I always found that by educating the public, we get a lot more in return as well. So I walk you through that entire process. At the end of that, we're going to make sure you understand, well, have you been pre-approved? If not, I'll connect you to Fred and Martin. We'll talk about getting you pre-approved at that point in time. From there, we discuss building an actual search, right? So whether you're pre-approved or not, I'll still typically build the search with you during that meeting. And what I mean by the search is it's an automatic email that's going to be sent to you either as soon as possible or daily or weekly, whatever you decide, with the properties that fit your criteria. And we do this again without a firm budget. We're waiting on our pre-approval before we start doing visits, but we simply go on the map and we start deciding, okay, what are your must-haves? What are your nice-to-haves? How many bedrooms do we need at a minimum? Do you need parking? Can it be a driveway? Does it have to be a garage? Are you okay with street parking? Is there a minimum square footage that you're looking for? What are the neighborhoods that you're looking at? On my system, I can go as detailed as drawing on a map to select areas. So because of that, we'll say like, hey, I want to be in, let's say, Ville Saint Laurent, but I don't want to be past this street. So I'll be like, hey, tell me your north, east, west, south, and we can draw on the map because you like this side, you like that park, you like this school district, and you want to stay within these areas. And we'll build that whole thing out. So at the end of the meeting, really your homework is to, if you have not gotten pre-approved yet, make sure we get the pre-approval so we can confirm that the price and the budget that we put in the search is valid. And after that, we start requesting visits and we start visiting properties and we start getting that mileage under our feet that I talk about, where we start seeing properties and we really, once we started seeing properties, I or my team have a much better understanding of what's actually important to you because what you thought potentially was important to you I need to have this. Once we've seen 5, 7 properties, you're like, oh, you know what? I really love this property and it doesn't have the ensuite that I wanted, but really I can see myself and my family living here forever. So I'm not as concerned about this, right? Well, once we actually are on the field, it's a lot more apparent what kind of concessions you're willing to make and what really is a need versus a nice to have. And then from there, we can refine even further. And then we can possibly start looking at off market properties or start reaching out to our network to see, hey, does anybody have something like this that once we've really kind of narrowed in on what you want, what you're looking for. Once we've done that, obviously, we'll start drafting offers. Once we fall in love with the property, we'll go through that negotiation process. We'll go through that due diligence, and then we'll prepare you to go to the notary, and then we'll be with you at the notary as well to make sure that everything goes smoothly and celebrate your purchase.
So, after you've onboarded and you start to visit homes, how close to their criteria do they stay? Or do they walk into a property and they say en français, j'ai un coup de cœur, this is the one I want?
I'd say that overall, people usually have a pretty good grasp. I'd say nowadays, in particular, when they've come to me, they've usually been looking at houses online for 3 to 6 months. Usually, I can tell people like, I'm about to send you this list. Like, I know every single house on that list. Like, you're not doing me any favors. This isn't any news to me, right? And like, I hear you, but we have to start with something. We need to get a baseline. We got to go visit things together so we can actually start working together and start this process off. So because of that, I think that people are a little bit more prepared than maybe they used to be, but nevertheless, has it happened to me that I'll get a client say, LJ, I want to see this property. And I say, this does not have A, B, C that you said were must haves. And they say, it doesn't matter. I'm only going to concede on those things because of X, Y, Z. Yeah, it's happened, and we've ended up purchasing that property. I had that conversation actually earlier this week. I had a client send me a property in the building next to where he's currently living. I just sold his condo, and the idea was to go into a quieter area because his property is in the old port adjacent area. And I said, hey, like, I'm happy to go show you this property, but like, we wanted a quieter area. Like, it's literally the building next to yours. Like, there's a lot of things that aren't aligning with our past conversations. And you know what, LJ? This property is listed so far below what I think it's actually worth. It. It's an excellent deal. Given the deal, I'm happy to concede on my wants and take the deal option because I do still like the area, even though I wanted a quieter space to live. So it happens.
Can I share beef? I got a beef.
Okay.
All right.
What grinds your gears?
Fred knows this story. So we had a client in Hudson. So I went out to see her and had a great meeting with her. Spent about an hour and a half with her. And I'd seen a property online that was close to her home. So I said, I'm going to do a drive by. I drove by it and it was like, coup de cœur. So I go back onto MLS. I send an email to the real estate agent, no answer. I call his agency. They take a message. They say he'll call you back. No call back. And then I find his mobile number and I leave a message on his voice mailbox and I get no call back. Now, is it because he's got too many people interested in this property and he just doesn't need another person to come and visit the home? Or is that just poor
customer service.
Well,
Beef.
I think you
That's
answered.
right, seems an opinion. I mean, look, I can't speak to all of my colleagues and how they run their businesses and what is right or wrong. Obviously, customer service is imperative. From everything you've told me, it sounds like you did not have a positive customer service experience, and therefore, yes, obviously, it does not sound like he's doing everything in the best interest of his client. It's possible that he already had an accepted offer. Nevertheless, my philosophy is always to respond. I send regularly emails or messages back saying, "Hey, unfortunately, we already have an accepted offer on that property. I'm going to keep your information in case it doesn't work out, and I'll keep you in the loop to let you know if anything happens." But that's where we stand today. Um, and I'd say that honestly, it's a little bit tougher on rentals, but on the listing for sale, we always make sure to get back to let them know, "Hey, this is the status. Like, I'm so sorry, it's no longer available. Let me know if there's anything else we can do to help and potentially show you other properties that might fit your criteria." Is the goal here.
Let me just finish my thought. So my thinking is the market is very active. And if you're a buyer and you find something that you like, you need to attack. That's my feeling.
I also say that, I mean, we spoke about it last week, but with the law changes as to representation, double representation, et cetera, um, there's no time like the present to have your buyer's broker, right? You are not allowed double representation. You are still allowed to go straight to the listing broker and state that you understand that you're not getting representation, and that the broker is working in the seller's best interest, and that you're okay with this. But nevertheless, I mean, you want somebody on your side. You want somebody up to bat for you. And because of this, this is where these automatic alerts come in very handy, right? I have clients on the ASAP alerts that we've been looking for houses, and they might get an email at 7 in the morning, or even the middle of the night, because that's when the property was uploaded onto the MLS. And then we'll talk about it first thing the next day. They'll send me a message. Myself and my team will reach out to the property. We'll schedule a visit. A client usually will say, "Hey, LJ, I'm interested in this property." My first response back is, "When are you available to visit it?" They give us time slot. We request that visit. We try and get in the right away to try and have a first mover advantage. Because the reality is, good properties are moving very, very quickly in this market. And because of that, we need to have that first mover advantage. So that's where working with a team of people where even if I'm unavailable, somebody on my team is going to be available to go show you that property so we can do this visit, we can get you in there, and then we can make the decision if it's the right one for us or not.
If you think that now is the right time to buy, you are ready to rock and roll, give LJ a call, 514-500-4040. He'll help you find the right property for you. Coming up, our property of the week. Maybe that's the right property for you. Plus the answer to our trivia question. We'll find out after we check traffic at the CJD 800 Traffic Center. This is Under One Roof MTL on CJD 800. I'm Robin. That's LJ. That's Fred. That's Martin. We are with you until 1 p.m. Happy Father's Day, by the way. LJ, what do you have for us this week for our property of the week?
Are you looking for peace and convenience just minutes from the city? Welcome to 250 Avenue Saint Laurent, Unit 306, a bright and spacious two-bedroom condo in beautiful St. Lambert. Enjoy modern finishes, a walk-in closet, in-unit laundry, 2 garage spots, and your own private balcony. The unit features 2 bedrooms, as mentioned, and I really love this unit because it's right next to the train station. Like I said, you're steps away from parks, shops, the St. Lawrence River, the old St. Lambert village. The home offers calm living with urban access. We're listed at just $525,000, and it's the perfect blend of comfort and location.
LJ,
Lambert.
that's the property I wanted, and you never called me back.
That's not true.
Hudson. You said you were in Hudson, Martin.
LJ always calls back. Always. So if you want to book a visit or if you're interested in this property, go to ljrealties.com, I imagine.
Exactly, or call us at 514-500-4040. That is the office line. I get it on my cell phone, and I have 3 other people who keep an eye on it. So there's always somebody keeping tabs on it to make sure that we can get back to clients on that line.
I love South Shore living. I absolutely love it. Grew up on the South Shore. It's such a great place to raise a family. It's just, I love the South Shore. It's wonderful. And we've got really cool restaurants. I have to
St.
say.
Lambert,
People-
this unit is legitimately 12 minutes from downtown Montreal. It's incredible.
That's amazing. Love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, let's get
Where do we eat? Where do we eat? Let's
So if you're there and you want to eat, I mean, there's honestly a plethora of options. You have Cru, which is an excellent seafood restaurant that is steps away. You've got Primi Patti, which is an excellent Italian restaurant, which is steps away. We've got coffee shops galore, breakfast joint. I mean, the old St. Lambert Village is just spectacular. So you can't go wrong going for a walk and grabbing a bite there.
And you're not far from Zistrant either. And there's tons to do at Zistrant.
It's 10-minute drive from there as well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to the answer to our trivia question of the week brought to you by Felix and Norton Cookies. Question was, if you're a first-time homebuyer putting down less than 20%, what is the maximum amortization length for a mortgage in Canada? The answer is 30 years. Right, Fred?
Yeah, that was a tricky question because back then it was maximum amortization on a for an insured mortgage was 25 years, which is
Yeah.
now it's 30 years, which is good.
Now, I understand there's a whole bunch of other criteria that could change what the maximum amortization period is, right? Like if you're buying a commercial property, I think you had mentioned, sometimes things can be different.
Well, on the commercial side, it's usually 20 to 25 years amortization period maximum. Residential side, 25 to 30 years. And if you go a multi-unit, and sure, we could go up to 35, 40, 45 years nowadays with the CMHC, which is, yeah, there's a lot of change in the industry.
Including that change, we have that MLI Select program that came out about a year or two ago for if you're going on very specific types of environmentally friendly or sorry, energy efficient or low affordability, if you will, homes, you can go as far as 50-year amortizations on commercial properties. So we do have that program out there as well.
Yeah, absolutely, LJ. Yeah.
Now, that's pretty much it for us for this week. We are taking a bit of a break for the summer, but I promise we will be back in September. Now, in the meantime, if you want to learn more about LJ, Fred, Martin, they're not taking a break from work. They're still working. They're just taking a
We're
break from the
not?
show. So,
We're
no,
not?
you're sorry, Martin. No break for you.
Oh,
If you want, you can check out our website, underoneroofmtl.com, or get in touch with LJ, Fred, and Martin individually. LJ, where do people go to reach you?
You can stop by our website, ljrealties.com, or give us a call at 514-500-4040. You can also find us on all socials with the handle LJ Aguinaga or LJ Realties. If you're looking to free up some time and you'd like to hire a property manager, but you're not sure where to start, give us a call, reach out to us. I'd love to have an intro conversation with you, see if we're really the right fit for you and how property management could help for you, or it might not be the right fit for you at all. But reach out to us. You can call me or my colleague Terry. He'd love to speak to you. He's also known as the Plex Doctor these days. We had a meetup this past week, and that was the going name. You can find us at plexdr.com, or you can reach out at 514-709-6397.
Fred, Martin, where do people go to reach you?
so we are now experiencing unbelievable amounts of volume. Not Fred and I, but the lenders. So the piece of advice that we want to give everybody who is now in the renewal process or looking to refinance, looking to purchase, start early because the delays are significant and we want to meet the deadlines. You can reach us through fredmartin.com, fredmartin.com, or
FredandMartin.com.
Fantastic. If you missed anything, you can listen to this show in its entirety on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. When you listen, share it on social media and tag us. We love to see that people are enjoying the show. For LJ, Fred, and Martin, I'm Robin. Have a wonderful Sunday. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.